Hey, aloha everyone, it's Marc Dixon from your local Allstate agency right here in Hawaii. And today's subject that I want to talk about is actually a question that I hope none of you ever have to ask me. The question is, why was my home insurance claim denied? So let's be honest, nobody likes hearing the word denied. Well, unless it's your teenager asking if they can borrow the car to go rage with their friends on a Friday night. But when it comes to insurance claims, hearing those words can be very, very frustrating. Now, many people assume the insurance company is just looking for a reason to not have to pay. Well, the reality is most claim denials happen because of a misunderstanding or misunderstandings about what the policy covers, or because the loss falls outside the coverage period provided by the policy. So today, let's talk about the 5 most common reasons a homeowner's or condo insurance claim can be denied, and more importantly, how you can help avoid getting a denial. Now, reason number one, the damage just isn't covered. And this is the biggest one, right? Insurance doesn't cover everything, doesn't cover every type of damage. Nobody'd be able to afford if it did. Now, for example, one of the biggest misunderstandings here in Hawaii involves flooding. Now, if heavy rain causes a nearby stream to overflow, or if water enters your home from the outside on the ground, well, that's generally considered flood damage, and a standard homeowner's policy or condo owner's policy doesn't cover flood damage. And that's why many homeowners purchase a separate flood insurance policy. Now, think of it this way: if your neighbor's swimming pool somehow ends up in your living room, that's probably not the kind of water your homeowner's policy was designed to cover, right? Pipe burst, it covers something like that. Right? Reason number two, lack of maintenance. Now, insurance is designed for sudden and accidental losses. It is not a home maintenance plan. So let's say your roof has had a slow leak, for several years, and you notice a stain on the ceiling, but every weekend something else comes up, right? There's football, there's family parties, weather's great, we went to the beach. Now, before you know it, that little stain on the ceiling has become a much, much bigger problem. Now, insurance generally doesn't cover damage that results from ongoing neglect or deferred maintenance. Living in Hawaii is hard on homes, right? There's salt air, humidity, heavy rain, we got termites, there's the hot sun. Now, your house works just as hard as you do, and taking care of it really does pay off. Now, reason number three, the damage existed before your policy started. So insurance protects you from future losses, not damage that was already there. For example, if you buy a home and there's already hidden water damage, um, that existing damage generally isn't something that a new insurance policy can repair. That's one reason home inspections are so valuable. They're not just checking the condition of the house, they're also helping uncover things that you can't see, right? Problems before they become super big problems and expensive surprises. Now, here's reason number four, your policy information isn't up to date. And this happens more often than you might think. Maybe you remodeled your kitchen, you added a bathroom, or you installed photovoltaic panels, you added a solar water heating system, you enclosed your lanai, or you finally built that outdoor kitchen you've been talking about since before COVID. But if your policy still reflects the home, from 10 years ago, before you did any of that stuff, your coverage may not accurately reflect today's rebuilding costs. So whenever you make significant improvements, let your insurance agent know. Trust me, we actually like taking those phone calls and hearing about those improvements. Number five, your loss doesn't exceed your deductible. Now, sometimes people think their claim was denied when really the covered damage simply didn't exceed the deductible on the policy. Right? So you select your deductible and you get to review it every year. But let's say, for example, your deductible is $2,500 and the covered damage and the repair is $2,000. Now, your policy wouldn't make a payment because the loss has not exceeded the $2,500 deductible. And again, that's why it's so important to know your deductible, to know your policy before something happens. Not while you're standing there in your driveway, poking at a blue tarp, covering your roof, trying to figure out what's next. So, how do you avoid these surprises? Well, it's actually pretty simple, right? Review your policy. Review it every year. Call your agent. Keep your home well maintained. Let your agent know about renovations or upgrades, and ask questions. Ask questions before you have a claimable event. And please don't do what so many people do. Don't take your insurance mailings and your renewal notice and toss it into the pile with the Costco receipts and the neighborhood takeout menus and the instruction manual for the rice cooker that you're never, ever, ever going to read. So take 5 minutes, review it. It could save you a lot of headaches. It could save you a lot of money later. Now, here's the bottom line. Insurance isn't just about buying a policy. It's about understanding what you're buying. It's understanding what that policy does for you and doesn't do for you. So a quick conversation today can prevent a very expensive surprise tomorrow. Now, if you'd like me to review or one of my team to review your homeowners or condo owners policy, answer your questions, or simply make sure your coverages still fit your house or your condo, give us a call. We can take a look at what you got versus your family's needs. We're always willing to help, always willing to answer questions. Now, from mahalo for watching, and please take care of your home, because here in Hawaii, between the salt air, the heavy rain, and the occasional gecko that somehow finds its way into the house or into your air conditioning system, home ownership is already enough of an adventure. So until next time, stay safe, live aloha, have a mayhem-free day, and I'll see you next week with another video.